I'm really excited that you're all here. So just so you know, my name is Fiona Redding and I am one of the ambassadors for the Great Aussie Hike, and I absolutely love it. I was at the weekend at the Beechworth to Myrtleford event, and was also at Mornington last year, which is where earlier this year, which is where next year's event is going to be running in March. So what we're here to do tonight is just really to, we're sort of hoping we'll be here somewhere between half an hour-ish, and we're just going to give you a run through of what you can expect over the course in preparation for the 2-day Great Aussie Hike in March, the 100-kilometre event. We're going to have Luke and Anna, who are going to be talking about the Great Aussie Hike, what it's all about, the background behind it, course overview, how it all will run for the actual event itself, the support crew, and the training program that is also associated with the actual hike itself. So the Great Aussie Hike is a really special and unique event because it's bringing together all of the best bits of all of these kind of walking events. We're also going to hear from Katrina Houston, who's a podiatrist, and she's going to be talking about what you need to do to prepare your feet. We'll have James Duffy from Lifeline Australia, who is our corporate partner, this event is actually going to be working in partnership with for next year to raise really much needed funds for Lifeline. So we're going to hear from James as well. We're going to have Stefan coming in to talk to us from Healing Hikes Australia about the event from the participants' perspective. So you have an opportunity to hear from him. And then we're going to have Anna and Luke come back to talk about the frequently asked questions. Now, as we're moving through, you may have some questions. Please feel free to either post them in the chat or hold off to them till the end and we will be able to answer them. So we're running this session as a Q&A rather than a webinar because this is part of the community spirit as well of the Great Aussie Hike, so that you have an opportunity to ask your questions, and if you've got any questions about how it all works. So this is the time to ask those questions either in the chat or at the end for the Q&A. So I'm going to hand over now to Anna and Luke to give you all an amazing overview of what this whole event is all about.
Thanks so much, Fiona. Can we just confirm, can you guys see our screen? That's working, Fiona? Thumbs up? Okay, great, guys. Okay, so the Great Aussie Hike embraces the great Aussie spirit of mates looking after each other. We were founded in 2020 during Melbourne's long lockdown as a way for mates to stay connected and supporting each other's mental health. People remain at the core of who we are and what we do. We focus on teams, mateship, connection, and your mental and physical health. It's all about changing habits, strengthening your mindsets so that there's long-term positive changes well after you cross the finish line. We think it's also really important to have fun while you're getting fit, and especially going around our course on the challenge days. We focus on having a really inclusive environment so that everyone that you want to have participate with you can do so in some way. And for us, it's really important to run an extremely safe and supportive event and focus on getting everyone to the finish line. We are not a highly competitive sporting event. There is no qualifications. There are no disqualifications. We only have rules in place to keep you and your team safe and moving towards the finish line.
Now, before we go further, we're just going to touch on the importance of team captains. As many of you here tonight will be the ones to put your hand up to help your mates and start this journey. We acknowledge that all participants are extremely important, but it is the team captains that are the heroes of the event. They are the ones that go the extra mile to support those that they care about. The ones saying, your mental health is important to me, let's do this together. Now, team captains are not alone. While you're supporting your mates, we're here to support you.
And it'll be the team captains that are sitting here tonight getting all the information for their teammates, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's begin by having a chat about the course, because this is something that is very special to our event, because we're extremely lucky to have one of the most stunning and diverse corners of Australia as the backdrop to what we get to just go and have a nice little walk around for 100 Ks. When designing the course, we're extremely focused on changing the landscape as much as possible. Nobody wants to walk 100 Ks looking at the same scenery. So we try to figure it out that as we change through the different sections, we try to change things and make them a little bit different to look at. It was also important to us to divert from many of the popular tourist tracks and go and explore some of the hidden treasures of the region. You'll hear us talking a lot about sections of the course. So this is a term that we use quite frequently. And this graphic is the best way that we can show you to illustrate exactly what it is we're talking about. So the course, the 100-kilometre course, is broken down into lots of different sections. So 10 over the 2 days, or 5 for the first day, which also covers the 43-kilometre course, 5 on the second day, which is our 57-kilometre course, and then we invite our 30-kilometre walkers in for those last 30 sections, and of course the party at the finish line. As you can see, they are all different varied lengths and all different elevations.
Now, sections 1 and 2, start down at Cape Schanck at a beautiful lighthouse, sun rises over the beach, and you walk in the 2 bays walking track. Following that through into Stephanie Rennick Walk, and we finish at the stunning Blue Range Winery. Section 3 is where your strength training really comes in. There is a 150-metre elevation gain over a 1 kilometre, which is the toughest that you will do during the challenge. And you're really rewarded for this with the majestic views of Port Phillip Bay as you traverse the side of Arthur's Seat. This section concludes with a gondola ride up the Arthur's Seat Eagle.
So if you walk the hardest bit, you get the eagle ride.
That's right.
Not bad.
It's a nice way to spend. Real good reward. Sections 4 and 5, you're walking around Seawind's Gardens at the top of Arthur's Seat. You've got those beautiful views of Port Phillip Bay. Sneaky little trip into Pig and Whistle Tavern, and then we finish in Main Ridge at the cricket club there. Section 6, which is also the first section of day 2, starts on going down the Red Hill Rail Trail. So the sun's rising on the horizon as you go towards it. We step into Merrick's Beach area, and you may have all heard of Merrick's General Store. Absolutely, famous through there. And you walk in, there's 1K section just along Balnarring Beach before heading into Coolart Historic Homestead.
Right before you have a stop with your support crew bringing you a fresh pair of socks, hey?
Exactly. Now, section 7 and 8, you just walk around Coolart's Homestead and around the wetlands there. This is something that not many people know about on the peninsula, and it's absolutely beautiful. Then taking in Western Port Bay Trail up into the coastal town of Crib Point, and then stepping onto the Bitton Coastal Wetlands Boardwalk.
Not even the locals of the peninsula know about this little treasure.
But yeah, this one is amazing to see. You can see the amazing colours coming through on those photos there. And that's basically you're walking across that on that boardwalk. Section 9 and 10, you're stepping back into the bush areas of both Ted Harris Reserve, down through Toorong, and then into Devil Bend Natural Features Reserve, which is a beautiful spot, another little hidden one, a little bit closer to Melbourne, but still on the peninsula, and absolutely beautiful down there in Murray.
And perfect place for a finish line party.
Exactly. Nice little remote spot for that finish line party for everyone.
So again, we're just going to keep flicking up this graphic because it's a really great thing to show us. There's the course, there's the different sections. But the question is what happens in between the sections? And that's where we build wellness stops. These are what you might have heard at other events as being rest stops or checkpoints. We like to call them wellness stops because we're looking at your whole body well-being with them. So this is where you're going to get toilets, although we do have additional toilets around the course. There is water. There is Aqualite, which is an electrolyte drink for you to refill your water bottles. We have some basic snacks like fruit and chips and lollies. This is where there's first aid professionals looking after you. We have stretching stations. We have our free hot spot supplies, which are filled up with some of our favourite products like Compeed blister patches. They are always in great demand. Physio cream just to start rubbing into any little muscle or achy cramp that might be starting to rise its head. Some of the sites, especially towards the end of both days, will have your allied health, your massage, podiatry. Coffee carts definitely always around in the morning. And then some of the bigger sites will have food vendors. We usually have a community barbecue somewhere along the track as well. This is the places where you get to meet your support crew. and where you get to do those walker changeovers if you're part of a share the distance team. There's also chairs, picnic rugs. Often your support crew will bring in you might have a really comfy camping chair that you always want to take around to all the stops with you. This is where that happens. We also have amazing volunteers who become part of the Great Aussie Hike Cheer Squads. They're going to be ringing cowbells. Fiona's one of our leading cowbell ringers at all of them, just giving you that pump up and that energy to feel really great about how you're going and give you a little boost to get back out on course. And it's also where we check in and see how you're traveling. Back to this graphic. Again, this is on our website, and this is a little bit of your Bible for the day. But we just wanted to pick up on one little thing before we go further and talk a little bit more about the share the distance, is on day one, wellness stop. So between that first 11 and 12 kilometres, that's a wellness stop that is so remote, your support crew actually can't meet you there. We get special permission from Parks Victoria to take a couple of four-wheel drives in so we can give you support, but you can't do a walker changeover there. So we do have a checkpoint set up before it and after it, but it just does mean that when you're looking at walker changeovers, there are 6 sections that you can do. Again, people can walk through and you don't have to change them at those ones, but just in case the next slide and the tables don't make any sense, it's important to point that out. We will, before the day when we have other briefings, go through those kind of things in more detail. You don't need to worry about that at the moment. Just know that that's what's happening. Okay, so share the distance is a really unique part of the Great Aussie Hike. And again, it gets back to our focus on participation being the key of what we're doing. Being together with your mates is about what we're doing, and not being a competitive event that's just for endurance athletes. So the aim is if you have got friends who we've always wanted to do this, but we don't feel that we can walk the longer distances, there's a way for them still to be included. Again, it's about you getting together with your mates as a team and going, how can we go from the start line to the finish line together? There are a couple of little rules with this. We do need to have minimum walker numbers on course for each section based on the safety or the hazards or, those kind of things. So before we were talking about it being a little bit remote for those first couple of sections, that's why we need you to have 4 walkers on course. Other sections, we only need 2 because you're quite accessible to us. We've got great reception to contact you with radios, all that sort of stuff. Again, you can have more than the minimum numbers, but just focusing on the minimum numbers. So you need minimum numbers on course, and you need 1 person in your team to be acting as the support crew for each section. The rest of it is completely up to you. So the first example here is that's a team where everyone's going to cover about 55 to 60 kilometres over the 2 days. The next example is where you've got a couple of members of your team. They've probably got been part of these kind of events before. They've already got some predetermined fitness. They're like, hey, we're putting our hand up. We want to give the whole 100 Ks a go. That's fantastic. Their other teammates don't have to do the whole 100 Ks to still be out there and having fun and doing it together. It's also really important to remember with the share the distance that it's not really designed as for someone to come along for 1 hour, just walk 4 Ks and then disappear and we don't see them again. This is a team event. You are to complete it as a team. If you're not on course, you're supposed to be supporting your team. This is about being together, both physically and mentally, and supporting in each ways. It doesn't mean that you can't disappear. Like we had a great example of a team last year where it was a dad and he had his teenage and young adult kids that were out on course with him. One of them had to go and do an exam. So it's not a strict rule, but that was still amazing that they were just out there. I think they were ranged from 16 to 22 with the kids. And I mean, for us, that just embodies everything that we're talking about with this, is that a dad's got out there and they've trained together and they've had this great experience together. So it's not hard and fast, but it's not, we don't want people thinking that someone can just pop in for an hour and disappear. It's not what it's about.
No, it's about being that team for that whole support and that training.
Yeah.
Now, support crew. These are the members of your team that are not walking the current section of this course. They may be a dedicated person for the entire challenge, or the walkers resting from that particular section as part of that share the distance team. Now, these are compulsory for the 100, the 57 and the 43 kilometre challenges. Do not underestimate the importance of this person. This is probably the most important person in the team at any one time. They're supportive of all the walkers. They're the person moving that vehicle between with all the extra supplies, extra shoes, extra socks, And they're getting into the wellness stops beforehand, maybe do a little bit of a setup to keep the walkers comfortable. Now, these are also the team's insurance policy against injury or any other issues that go out on course. If we need to evacuate a course, they now have a vehicle that's dedicated and can go pick up an entire team during the event. Not that that's ever happened, and we hope that never happens.
But again, we have buses on standby, but to go along and find everybody and pick them up is slow.
Yeah, everyone is spread quite wide after 100 Ks.
So now let's start talking a little bit about getting you ready for Challenge Day. And it's not to think that you go and sign up and that's the end of it. We're not going to hear from you again. You'll actually get sick of hearing from us before Challenge Day. So our training program, again, because we're a program that is based on trying to strengthen your physical and mental health, it's not just focusing on the walking, stretching and strengthening exercises. Yes, these are really important because you're going out to go for a big, long walk, but we also include other elements such as talking topics with your team when you're going out and training together, mindfulness activities. We even try and get you to increase your hydration. It's probably a little unknown fact that people don't realize how much increasing your hydration levels improves your mental well-being. So they're all the kind of things that we include in your training program that looks something like this.
So this is basically a design of one of the training programs. As you can see, we've got like the walking sessions of how many you should be doing a week, how many distances, and this increases as it goes through. Strengthening sessions, same thing, they increase as you go through. So it's all about building for that time as soon as you sign up until the challenge day. Including this is those team talking topics, mindfulness activities. But there's also 3 types of training program. We've got the beginner section for people who haven't done that much walking but want to get out there and be part of it.
Well, as you can see from that one, week 1, they just need to go out for a 20-minute walk 3 times a week.
Correct.
That's your starting level. So don't think you need to be a superstar walker to get before you can begin.
Then we've got our intermediate. So if those people have done a little bit of walking or a little bit more fit, so that's fine. And then there's the advanced for those that are actually walkers and they'll get out there a bit more. So it's all about the build up to Challenge Day.
Yeah. And we're also really fortunate. You guys have already met Fiona earlier this evening. But she has jumped on board and is enhancing our program even further by offering her 21 Days to Grateful challenge as part of the program. It's offered to all participants. We will usually run this a few weeks before the event. We actually haven't got it locked in the date yet. We'll do that. It's probably around the end of February, start of March. And Fiona will contact you. You'll get an email every day from the 21 days. And also she pops up and chats in our community Facebook group every day. Last year she did a different sort of mindset challenge and the feedback was amazing, and it was just that final little added bit after you've done everything else, and then just to get that mindset and everything changing, going in and doing the challenge. And it's those little things that mean post challenge you've got all these tools in your toolbox to really help you stay mentally and physically well. So that's enough from us for a little bit. We're going to hand over now to Kat from the Foot Centre group. Have we got Kat here?
Hi.
Hi,
Kat. Thanks so much. That was fantastic. Good evening, everyone. It's so good to be here at this little virtual meet and greet with the wonderful team from Great Aussie Hike. Thank you so much for having me. My name's Katrina. I'm a podiatrist with the Foot Centre group, and I'm here tonight to talk a little bit about blister prevention and how to get the most out of your feet to have a vet day success. At Foot Centre Group, we want to be part of your team that makes your Great Aussie Hike experience amazing. We have 4 clinics in Melbourne, from Mornington on the Peninsula up to Brighton in the Bayside area. Our podiatrists treat everything feet, and we can help people of all ages, fitness levels, experience levels, prepare for endurance events like Great Aussie Hike. Please feel free to contact us if you want to learn more about your feet and how podiatrists can help you feel awesome on the trail. Can I have the next slide? There we go. Amazing. So we are, oh, I think we've missed a slide, guys. Oh.
Yep, managing blisters.
No, that's the wrong way. Can we go the other way? I love the enthusiasm.
Yep, go for it.
Have we got
back?
No.
The tips and tricks.
Can we go one more back? This should be, maybe we've lost one. That's okay.
That's all right.
It's all right. We're going to move on. There was a really beautiful photo of the Great Aussie Hike earlier this year where our lovely podiatrists, here we go, Jess and Emma. So we're really excited to be back on the trail for 2023. We're really keen to jump back into that support role at those wellness stops and really help you manage those painful blisters, minor skin traumas and acute foot and ankle injuries. These guys did some really wonderful work supporting hikers with nasty blisters and injury management last year. It looks to me like they're having a lot of fun. I think they brought a lot of joy and enthusiasm to the wellness stop. And I think everyone left with a bit of bounce in their step with these lovely podiatrists, helping them feel more comfortable and giving them a bit of encouragement to get on with the next leg of the trail. Ready for the next slide? Are we there? Oh, no, no. Can we go back to the little one with this one?
Yes.
Awesome. So let's chat about some blister prevention, shall we? This might be a little bit of revision for the more experienced hikers, but super important knowledge for walking beginners or anyone who's returning to the trail after a bit of a break. If you take nothing else away from this session, lock into your brains, friction equals blisters. So how do we reduce that friction so we don't get blisters on our feet while we're walking? Think about it like a bit of a triangle. You've got moisture, movement, and mechanics. With increased moisture, your skin tends to rub more and then break down. It's very unpleasant. Movement is really about how your footwear fits and making sure you're not slipping and sliding around in those shoes. And lastly, probably the one that podiatrists can help you with the most, it's mechanics. How do you walk? Do you have any bony areas that need offloading? Do you need to improve your skin integrity? When we address all three, we can significantly reduce the risk of blisters. Let's start with shoes. Some pretty obvious things here. Make sure they fit. Seems like a no-brainer, but you'd be surprised how many blisters, bruised toenails, and sprained ankles we as podiatrists see from incorrectly fitting shoes. Okay, so your shoes fit, great. I'll let you know when we're ready to move on.
All right.
Here we go. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, guys. All righty. So our shoes fit. What's next? We also have to break in our shoes so they have a chance to mold to our feet. And if there are spots that rub, we can get onto these during training instead of having them occur on the trail. It's also really important to realise that you may actually wear through a pair of shoes during your training period if you're getting your kilometres up. So make sure you check your shoes 4 to 6 weeks before the event so you can replace them if you need. Let's talk about socks as well. Socks are a really great defence against blisters as you can really control your moisture, heat and friction by choosing the right fibre and fit for your shoes. I really like fibres that breathe well and hold their shape even after you've been on the trail for a long time. I think we talked about socks just before. There's some really great brands to look out for. I'll put up a few links at the end. If you haven't worn things like hiking socks or toe socks, really good at reducing friction between the toes, especially if you're one to get nasty corns or blisters between the toes. I do also highly recommend booking in with a podiatrist to have a chat about your feet approximately 2 to 3 months before the event. It's worth seeing your podiatrist if you have any nail or skin health conditions, so you're happy and comfortable on the trail. And that sore toenail or niggling corn that bothers you sometimes during your normal activities, often they can become really sore when you're out hiking for a long period of time. We touched on mechanics earlier. Podiatrists can also check how you're walking and improve your stability and stamina. And so we can reduce your risk of injuries, especially because those trails can be quite uneven and without good muscle control, it's a good recipe for an ankle sprain. Orthotics can also be really helpful in managing foot pain and reducing pressure from any bony prominences. Okay, we're on the trail. You've done your absolute best to choose the right socks and shoes, and you've seen your podiatrist learn so much about your feet. You've done your exercises, and hello, we've still managed to get a blister. It's 5K to the next rest stop. What are you going to do? I highly recommend packing a little blister first aid kit. You want a fresh pair of socks, tape, sharp scissors, Band-Aids and betadine. You can get most of that at your local pharmacy and just pop it in a Ziploc bag, chuck it in your pack. Lastly, use a wonderful product called Engo patches. Essentially, stick them onto your shoes where you're getting friction and they've got a really good amount of slip, so it reduces the friction in the area. Can I have the next slide? Thank you. So this is some really good examples of blister formation. I know I'm a podiatrist. I've kept the really gory ones behind the screen. So beautiful little diagram for you tonight. This is tonight we're going to talk about stages 3, 4, and 5. This is what you're most likely to see on those trails. And this is when your blister kit comes in handy as well. So stage 3, you've got a blister and what we call a roof. This roof is intact and it's actually sterile because there's no opportunities for bacteria to enter the blister. The best option for this blister is an island dressing and a Band-Aid. Keep it simple. It's best practice to avoid breaking the blister to improve your healing and reduce risks of infection. Stage 4, the blister has popped, but the roof is still sitting over the blister, protecting the fragile skin underneath. At this stage, we have a protective layer of skin and we need to reduce the risk of infection. It's time to get out that old faithful betadine, apply betadine, then an island dressing or a Band-Aid, and it's best practice to avoid removing that blister roof as it's protecting the skin beneath. Stage 5, the blister roof has completely come away and the fragile skin beneath is exposed. These blisters can be really sore. This is when your hydrocolloid Band-Aids come in handy. I think we've got some hydrocolloid Band-Aids on board, which is really exciting. These can protect the skin and promote a moist wound healing environment so you can recover quicker. Beautiful, next slide. Thank you. Even with this fantastic blister prevention knowledge, you may still need some ongoing help with managing your blisters. Foot Centre Group podiatrists will be on site, ready to treat your blisters, secure your ankles with taping and provide you with some much needed encouragement to get your legs pumping through the next stage of your day. You can find us at the Pig and Whistle British Tavern, Ted Harris Reserve and Bitten Reserve.
Thank you so much.
Nice slide.
Oh, one more, sorry.
Yes. So I believe this is going to be...
We'll put all these links out in the email that we send out because we're just running a little bit over time now.
Yep. So I believe this is being sent out as a PDF resource.
Yep.
Yep.
Everyone will be able to access
everyone about trying to remember everything, because we're going to do another session with the Foot Centre Group and some other allied health towards the end of January, and then we also cover all this stuff in our safety briefing a couple of weeks before. So there's going to be lots and lots of information, and we're just so grateful to the Foot Centre Group for all the resources and help that they're going to provide to get you guys ready before the day, and also to get you through the event by actually being there in person on the day. So thank you so much. We really appreciate the Foot Centre Group coming on board.
No worries. We're so happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Pat. So James Duffy from Lifeline Australia is going to talk to us now. We are so excited, James, to have you and Lifeline on board for the next Great Aussie Hike. Really wrapped. So go for it.
Thank you very much. So, okay, friction equals blisters. Catriona, I've got that. It's in my head. But to Luke and Anna for the opportunity to speak tonight, but ultimately for this fantastic event. And I think, you know, when we were approached to become a charity partner for this event, we jumped at the chance. And I think really for 4 reasons. And one was the the sense of inclusion in the Great Aussie Hike that allows individuals and groups in Australia to participate regardless of age and ability. And similarly, that's the same for us here at Lifeline, who anyone who experiences crisis is contemplating suicide or caring for someone in crisis. It doesn't matter what your age, crisis supporters are ready to listen without passing judgment. And particularly with the functions of sort of share those miles with your friends, it's really fantastic. I think another piece for us was around safety, and a key principle of the Great Aussie Hike is really keeping Australians safe and healthy throughout their challenge and throughout their journey. And Lifeline does exactly the same for those who face their toughest challenges. And connection, I think for Great Aussie Hike, it is about encouraging connection through participation. And at Lifeline, we know that a connection can save a life. And really the big piece for us was around strengthening communities. And I think, you know, as Luke and Anna have demonstrated tonight, there are such a number of benefits for participants in could improve from health and physical health and well-being through mindset and physical exercise and just being out in nature, because it's so beautiful out there. And for us, it was really amazing to be able to and to be involved in that. So I did also want to call out volunteers as well, because Lifeline is made up of 4,000 trained crisis support volunteers. We have 10,000 volunteers who work across our many events across Australia. And you know, I think it's really important to remember not only Luke and Anna, but there are a team there of volunteers there that really help to bring this incredible event together. So we're just really excited to be involved. And I think one of the things that we really wanted to point out is for Lifeline at the moment, we've never been needed more. We're receiving a call for support every 30 seconds at the moment, which is really significant. It's been a tough couple of years, you know, with bushfires, drought, and the pandemic. And you know, particularly Victoria, we know you have had some real challenges. And I think the opportunity to be able to connect with friends and to do something physical is really important. And we know that's a really important strategy there for good mental health and suicide prevention. So we're really chuffed to be involved in this. And I think I wanted to just point out that, you know, for us, we rely on community events such as this to really support us in our work and to really ensure that we keep those services operational. So donations through the Great Aussie Hike means Lifeline can answer more calls from someone in crisis, and to ensure that we keep those Lifeline services open tonight, tomorrow night, and every night. So know that if you are thinking of signing up, if you have signed up, you've done the hard work, and we thank you hugely. So please, if you do have the opportunity, do look at fundraising and connecting with your friends and your family, your colleagues at work. Bring them on board. They can come with you on the journey, or even support you in ours, and we can support in this challenge together. So I guess I wanted to just finish with that, because I think it's a really important piece to say. And I think that's it from me. I'm very conscious of time.
Thanks, James. We absolutely really excited to have you on board as well. And yeah, everyone, that's adding extra support by having getting that fundraising rolling.
And for us, it was always about, this started in lockdown as a way to help people. And now as people have the means to do a little bit extra, it's just about going, hey guys, I'm going out, I'm going to walk 30 kilometers or 43 or 57 or 100. Family and friends, do you want to support me? Something that really resonates with Luke and I is it only takes $39 for them to be able to answer a phone call and save a life. So if you walk and you get one person to donate $39 in support of what you guys are doing, you're saving a life as well as the walk. Like, it's that simple. And then together as a community, there's so much we can do. So there's no pressure. There is no compulsory fundraising minimums. If you don't get so much, you can't go out on course, nothing like that. It is just, if you're in a position to reach out to your family and friends and say, hey, this is what I'm doing to try and look after me and my friends, will you guys support me? Gee whiz, we're going to make a lot of difference and answer a lot of phone calls and save a lot of lives together. So that's really important to us as well.
Yeah, very much so.
Anna, you should be a fundraiser. Do you want to come and work over at Lifeline?
In between everything else. It's a pretty easy thing to talk about. It's not, it's not a sales pitch. These are people's lives. And I mean, for me, I've got an 11 and a 13-year-old, and suicide's now the leading cause of death for 15 to 44-year-olds in our country. So, we all just have to pitch in and do what we can in these tough times to keep resources like you guys going.
Exactly.
Thank you. We really appreciate that. And thank you to those that have already registered and signed up, and for those there are thinking about it. I would like to call out, I'm not alone here on the call. We do have a couple of other Lifeline employees here on the line. So a special shout out to Ben and Chloe, who are also working on this project with us as well. So and are listening. So but we, as I said, really excited, and we are here to support you, particularly in your fundraising journey. So know that there will be tools and EDMs there that will support you in your journeys, and we're here to answer any questions.
And we'll hand it back to you now, Fiona.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Thank you, James. Well, when Anna told me about it, I just thought, that is just like a match made in heaven. I just think it's a great fit. And, personally, having been working with Anna and Luke for the last year or two or whatever, they're really great, amazing people to work with. And the Great Aussie Hike for everyone here is honestly one of the most phenomenal events I've ever had the pleasure of being involved in. It's just incredibly well run, the sense of community, the sense of care for everybody, the whole way. It's just a wonderful thing to be involved in. So I think it's a fabulous partnership with Lifeline. So wonderful. Thanks for that, James. So now I'm going to ask Stefan from Healing Hikes Australia a couple of questions, because Stefan has actually done 3 Great Aussie Hikes. So Stefan, are you there, my friend?
Hi Fiona, how are you going?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for the Great Aussie Hike, for making me feel a part of a community and allowing me to be a part of the introduction session. So no, I'm fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, good. So why did you choose to participate in the Great Aussie Hike?
Yeah, so short and sweet, I've been hiking for over 10 years, and I was looking for a challenge where I could feel a part of a community, because as a solo hiker, I wanted to feel a part of a community, and I wanted to be able to talk and really talk about my own mental health, and share my story and hear about other people's story. And when I saw that the Great Aussie Hike offered 3 different events, a 30K, a 60K and a 100K event, I was like, wow, that's awesome. That can definitely hit the challenge box. But then with the community and the resources, like the training resources, the notice board, everything that they do outside of the event, all days, 365 days of the year, I was like, yep, this is the event for me. So yeah, I signed up, and obviously no compulsory fundraising, which can be a bit of a hindrance if you're doing it year after year after year. So yeah, that's why I chose to do short and sweet, I did say, but yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's great. And that was, I think, one of the things that was really significant. I know when I was first speaking to Anna about it, was that it wasn't about compulsory fundraising, because it was actually about people just getting out there and doing something without adding another layer of complexity and another thing to do on it. And obviously, if you want to raise funds, that's fantastic, but it's not a requirement. Okay, so let me just pull up my.
But that's not the only reason. There's a lot of events. And
I understand that, but I think that is a real point of difference for the Great Aussie Hike. So now you've completed 3 Great Aussie Hikes now, and all 3 times you have been captain of the single walkers team. So people who wanted to join the fun but didn't have a team to sign up with, like yourself. So how has this experience been, walking with people you didn't know for the 2 days?
Well, it's been great to, as I mentioned, share stories with each other and find out that we are actually all the same on this earth. We all feel the same emotions. We all have the daily same struggles. And sometimes when you feel isolated, you feel alone. But you don't feel alone when you're doing the Great Aussie Hike. because as a team with these single walkers, we're able to share our story. We're able to talk about, you know, what we're going through, but we're also, it's not like a counseling session. It's more like just a cathartic, fun experience. Like on the weekend, we talked about crystals. You know, I love crystals. So like you just find little cool, fun stuff. So yeah, that's what I really like walking with single walkers. Yeah, it's good.
Well, that's wonderful, Stefan. Thank you. And we shall be seeing you next March.
Yeah, I'll be 100% there. Yeah, like it's such a fun experience. And like giving myself a plug, I've filmed the last 3 events. So if anyone wants to watch those 3 events, they're on YouTube on Healing Hikes Australia as well. So you can check them out there as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Stefan. All right. Well, we'll see you next March. Thank you so much for sharing that. And back over to you now, Anna and Luke.
And also a huge thanks to Stefan for joining us tonight. His baby had an operation today and he has still I'm guessing he's out the front of a hospital just to jump in and be part of this tonight. So thanks very much, Stefan, and we hope Leo's doing really well.
Yeah. Great, guys. Thank you for everything. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye, Stefan.
Fiona, we're back to the screen sharing.
Yep.
All right, so we're running a little bit over time, so we just want to quickly tick off this bit and then we'll start getting into some of the questions. Don't miss out. If you are going to join us, make sure that you sign up before Sunday, okay? We have early bird pricing. We have already extended it because once we decided to do this info session, we wanted to extend it so everybody had a chance to come and meet us and find out all the information before joining up. But for a team of 5, which is our 43, 57, and 100 kilometre teams, that's a $300 saving off the team price. So do make sure that you get in before this Sunday, go to our website and sign up. So we're going to do questions, but we thought we also are pretty aware of what are most of the frequently asked questions. So we thought if we run through those really quickly ourselves, then we'll take questions from the floor. So the first one is, can I walk by myself? No. This is a team event. So there's that side of it. There's also the side of it safety wise. As soon as you put on a race bib and step onto our course, we're responsible for your safety. We can't look after you if you're out there by yourself. You can be super experienced. It doesn't mean that there can't be some, a heart attack or a stroke, or, a broken leg or a snake bite or anything like that. So you must be walking with other people. However, as you heard from listening to Stefan, we do have people that are we don't have a team, but we still want to come and participate. We call them the hitchhikers. So when you register, you just go and click on join a team, join the hitchhikers. We have one for every single distance. And then you get to go out with Stefan and some of the other great people that have been in those teams. We have never had anyone complain or have any trauma. It's almost like we attract amazing people. You get to meet new people, you get to have great experience and still be part of it. So don't stress, just go and sign up and join the hitchhikers team. The next question that we often get is, okay, I really want to do it, but I can't find 5 friends to form the team. There's only 2 of us. Okay, the 2 of you can still go and join the hitchhikers team. You can still go and join it as a threesome. What you can also do is, as you get talking to people over months, I'd still sign up your team now. As you get talking to people over months, you never know who's your neighbor or your someone that you work with or a school parent or something like that. That's like, hey, I saw that. I didn't have a team. They will then join your team. So a lot of teams get filled closer to the day. The other side of that is if you end up with 3 people and we've got 2 teams of 3 people, we can join you guys up together in those last couple of weeks before the event. There'll be other teams that someone's dropped out or got injured or stuff like that. They're low in numbers. So towards those things. So just the biggest thing is just get started. Just get a team, get the 3 of you, get going, and we will help you towards the end, making sure that you can be safe and we can get you out on course. Okay, can we do the 100Ks without stopping, Luke?
No. Basically, what we do force everyone to stop overnight. As you mentioned, that we've got the 43K and the 57K on those separate days. And this is actually designed this way because we want people actually to be out there. We want them to be healthy while they're doing this. Set up this course, it's very huge, it's very big. So it's more about getting people to that finish line and having a weekend of it. So they're out there doing the 100Ks with their team. Get a place, get a house, stop, you have that evening together. It's about building that team relationship, those bonds back up.
But yeah, sleep deprivation and mental health are not
Not
friends.
conversive to each other, are they?
especially if you've gone 36 or 48 hours without
Exactly.
sleeping. And so another question we get is people often ask us, where do we stay overnight? This is really a decision for you and your teammates. So we have people that are local to the areas that will stay at home. We have people from Southeast Melbourne that it's only, a half an hour drive, so they travel back and forth each day. We have other teams that camp. We have a lot of teams who hire like a stays or an Airbnb or something like that and have, a really great weekend of it. So it's up to you to figure out what's the right thing for your teammates and what do you want to get out of it. Mornington Peninsula Tourism are putting some links and suggestions together on our website. That should all be through. They should have that to us by next week. But one little tip that we would say from our end is have a think about what distance you're doing and where your start and finish location is. So you don't want to be staying in Portsea if you're doing the 30-kilometre walk. It's a long drive home when you finish in Murrieta. So for example, the 100-kilometre distances, we recommend on the Port Phillip side of the bay, having a look around the Dramana safety beach areas, or on the Western Port side, having a look around the Point Leo Shore. That's about your middle point for all the two different start lines and the two different finish lines. Again, if you've got any questions, we're here. So you've just got to send us a message and we'll help you with that. How fast do they have to walk, Luke?
Look, for the 100, the 57 and 4K distances, teams we've got it set up to be a pace between 4 and 6 Ks an hour on average. Okay. So, and that's giving about a half an hour break at each wellness stop. This is because we've got traffic management open at different times and things like that. But we're also trying to keep everyone healthy as well.
Yeah.
And keeping them, within a good area of each other.
And if you go on rest for 2 hours, it's very difficult to get back out on course.
Completely. So, it's just so we look at keeping people between that 4 to 6 Ks an hour and generally find that's not a difficult thing to do.
No, people get very concerned and worry about it before the event. We have never had any teams have any trouble. We always close our events hours in advance, don't we, Fiona? We're always packing up early. On the day, you just get out there and really do it. And if you're also struggling, towards the end of the courses, we have like little golf buggies driving around and stuff like that. So there's no problem with jumping in that and, having a little rest for 15, 20 minutes while your teammates just walk another K up the road and then we go and find them and let them out and things like that. Again, it's about getting your team to the finish line. It's not about being, a competitive athletic event. Yeah. This is another really common question. One that makes us a bit sad. We would love the answer to be yes, but...
I bring my dog. Unfortunately, we're on Parks Vic land a lot of the time. And due to the wildlife there, they obviously have strict no dog policies. We'd love to be saying yes, obviously. This is no domestic animals at all.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah. And again, we are always really respectful of the land that we walk on and the environments that we're in. So we need to protect the native animals that are in the spaces that we're walking as well. Another common question we get is, where does the registration fee go to? We're not expecting you to memorize this. There's no test afterwards, but this does give you some little bit of an idea of what does go into it. Some people say to us, oh, do you just buy a race bib and that's about it? There's a lot of costs that go in towards it. And we are actually able to keep our registration fees a lot lower than other events just because of the sheer magnitude of volunteer hours and the lack, the reduced number of wages that we have to pay. But there is a lot that goes into running the event and keeping you safe. And we definitely don't take any shortcuts when it comes to your safety.
No, definitely not. And that's the most important thing, is you and your safety out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, just to add on that one, I think as a charity though, we're grateful, particularly Anna Luke, for the volunteers there that really contribute thousands of hours there to developing and running the events, which really helps to make sure that the challenge costs are covered by the registration fee and allows us to ensure that any fundraising then goes directly into the service. So thank you.
And 100%, we just definitely want to make sure that that's respected, that anybody who goes out and does raise some money, that's definitely 100% getting through to where you want it to be. Yeah. Again, we'll just leave this one up there as another little reminder. just go to the website. If you are joining us, do not miss that deadline on Sunday. And now let's open it up and see if anybody else has got any questions for us.
And I was just going to say, there's a couple of questions, and thank you for that. And just so everybody knows, Anna and Luke are like the beating heart of the Great Aussie Hike. So they very quietly in the background. This is probably the most you're ever going to see them. So Chloe just said, hi, looking forward to meeting you all at the event, Chloe. We are looking forward to seeing you too and having Lifeline on board. Okay, do we still have the mates rate, $200 between 5th to the 31st of December?
Yep, so that'll be after this one, but this is the cheapest price that will be on offer. We never do a sale after people have got, so don't stress that if you go and get something later on, it will always be more expensive. So there is another sale that will come after this before Christmas, but this is the cheapest that you will get, is before Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we camp at Main Ridge Cricket Club?
No, unfortunately, but there's Point Leo is just down the road in Shoreham. I don't believe they. We'd have to talk to them directly, but I don't think. It's council
land though, so that's
it's council set up land. Yeah. So, but there is free camping just down on the coast at Point Leo, which is actually a really good spot for Red Hill South to start for the second day.
Okay. Can you register for the 57-kilometre and then upgrade to the 100-kilometre on the day?
Well, on the day would be a little bit tricky. We would definitely be wanting you to upgrade a little bit before that. We would hope that you would know yourself a little bit before that, so we can probably a couple of weeks out work with you on that. But yeah, on the day would be tricky because we wouldn't even be knowing that you were coming. Your bib would be in another box ready for the next day and things
so
like that.
It's from a safety perspective. It's like it's logistical safety perspective. You have to
and again, just who's your team?
Yeah.
who are you walking with? Are you just turning up by yourself and saying, I want to walk 100 kilometers and stuff like that? Again, if there's something specific that's a reason you want to wait till the actual day, just have a conversation with us offline, and we might be able to work towards to have an understanding of what you want to do. But yeah, just the biggest thing for us is communication. Keep talking to us. We'll do everything we can to cater to your individual requests. But just it's more giving us that knowledge and that heads up. Yeah. We can then help you more.
Okay, so Del has just responded to the Main Ridge Cricket Club.
Yes.
About the camping ground. It's the long weekend and no free camping at Point Leo. He works there.
It's not the long weekend.
Sorry?
Our event isn't on the long weekend.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So
we definitely avoid long weekends.
How do you add more than 5 people to your 100-kilometre team?
Okay, so when you are going in, if you are registering and putting them all in one at a time, you just add more people.
Okay.
Yeah. And people can also just join your team. So you just give them go through the registration, they can find your team and join it then.
Yeah. So the team leader registers and then other people can be added to the team as you go along.
Yeah. So your team captain will go in and click create a team. They'll type in your team name. Then you just need everybody to have that team name, and they come back, they click join a team, start searching from that name. There'll be a drop down menu, click on it, and you're all together. Yeah. Yep. And if something goes wrong, let us know and we can put you in the team.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to that.
So just on the camping thing, that is good. Still no free camping at Point Leo. It's $45 per night.
Okay.
Okay. So for the hang on, I've just missed one. Let me just go back up again. If you have someone who just purely wants to be support crew and doesn't want to walk, do they need to register and pay?
Yep. So they are still a member of the team. They still get a race bib. They still get a finisher medal. They still get a challenge buff. So they're all still part of that. So the thing is that they are still part of your 5-person team. Yep. Now, what will happen if you've got 4 people who are looking to do the 100Ks and just 1 person who wants to do the support crew? What we recommend for that is that's when you pay via a team fee. So the team captain comes to us and says, hey, can I just pay for the entire team? And then you divide up the costs a little bit more. So we used to do it our first year, everybody paid as the team fee and then reimbursed the team captain. But we just found out of demand, a lot of people said to us, no, we're all doing share the distance. It's much easier for us all just to divide it up and pay now. But if you're doing something a little bit different, contact us, pay as a team, divide it up separately yourselves, depending on what your team situation is. Okay. So then the other walkers would cover the support crew portion, that 5th person portion.
Yeah, gotcha. For the 100-kilometre challenge, is it mandatory to have a vehicle?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
otherwise, you can't get there and get home and all those kind of things. And your gear, you've got compulsory gear, and there's other gear that you'll need to be carrying. So the vehicle needs to be moving along the course with you.
I think we can answer that one from Josh as well. So the support person goes along, they take the vehicle with them. So they'll drive that vehicle between wellness stops.
And so if you're changing who's on course, you just got to remember to get the keys off them before the teammates start walking out on course and have walked off with the keys.
And make sure the walkers have the radio.
Yes.
It's the other one.
Is there a minimum age to register?
Our system is set up for 13-year-olds. That's pretty much it. We will, again, it's about having a conversation with us with things like that. But with the 13-year-olds, there is another little fine print area in the terms and conditions. So there is a limited number of underage people that you can have in part of your team, because you've got to have a certain number of adults that are taking responsibility for them, you know, all that normal stuff. But yeah, there are a lot of really fit and healthy teenagers that we've had on course that have had a great experience.
And we do encourage you, get that family together.
Yeah.
Including your son, Anna.
Yes.
How can we judge which distance we can manage, and how long do we need to train for the various distances? Sorry if you covered this earlier.
No, that's kind of what's your starting point? You know, there's lots of different questions with that. What we do is we often put people on the phone with Luke. So if that person wants to get in touch with us, we can get Luke to give them a call and just have a bit of a talk through the training program that he's written. And he's got a lot of experience in this area to go, this is a good starting point. But don't just think that the 30Ks being the shorter distance is the easier option.
Actually,
the 30Ks is you're going out and walking 30Ks straight. So to be in one of the other teams where you're sharing the distance and you're doing a 10K section, then having a rest for a couple of hours, then going out and doing 10Ks, then going home to bed, that can actually be easier to train for and to accomplish than going out and running the 30Ks. But we would recommend, if you've got specific individual questions about yourself, get in touch. We'll have a bit of a chat to you and figure out something that works for you and your mates.
Yeah. And as you were saying, Anna, that 30K is actually quite, or compared to the others, if you have a team and you can do that, share the distance on a 57, you're actually covering very much, like you can be covering the same distance as you are for the 30 over the whole day, but you're sharing it with your mates more, so you get more of a rest.
Getting that rest.
So there's different ways to approach it as well. I'm happy to talk to people in regards to how fit you have to be and all of that. So get in contact and we'll have a chat.
And there's also a degree of, if you've just gone out and the longest you've walked is 20Ks and you signed up for the 30, you tend to get the 30 on the day. There's just
adrenaline is the next kick.
And the energy of the event, you do kick it into another gear. So never underestimate what you can do on the day as well.
And if not, the golf buggy can help out.
That's it. The golf buggy will pick you up if you don't make it.
And help you get there.
Cara said she was only able to add 5 people. I'm not sure if that comment was written before or after Anna and Luke talked about adding people to the team.
Yeah, no, Cara, you can add more. They don't have to technically have an invite. It can be, they can just go through and find you in there. You can also just send them the link and that should be able to get them straight to join your team.
Cara, we can look you up and see, just make sure that it's all going through fine for you. And if there is any little, IT, glitches. sometimes a little team, little glitch, we'll pick up on that and make sure you can definitely get more people in your team.
Okay, any other questions? Josh, I think we answered your question. How does the support person go from one wellness stop to the next? In the car. Will one group be fine to share one car? Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So one car per team. Or you can have more if you want as well. You're not limited to the one car, but one car is sufficient. Per team.
Very much encouraged.
Provided everybody can sit in that car
as much as possible.
Yes. So any more?
We want you out of course walking.
Yeah.
Now, also, if anybody does have any additional questions after this session tonight, please do message Anna and Luke. They're incredibly responsive and we'll get back to you very quickly to try to make the process as pleasant and streamlined as possible right from your registration all the way through to the end. So, as I said, I'm an ambassador for the Great Aussie Hike. Absolutely delighted to be part of it. It's an incredible event. So if you are thinking about doing it, my advice to you is just do it. If you've come along to this information session, you're clearly keen. If you're still here on the call now, you're clearly keen. Just register and come along and try it out. It truly is an incredible experience, life-changing experience, an amazing weekend of connection, of community, of mates, of well-being, of all of the stuff. So Beatrice has just asked, what time does the challenge start on the first day? So
around 7 a.m. We're not great at going right on time, are we, Fiona? We do a bit of a sunrise ceremony on the first day. And it's just a really great way to come together as a group and reset our minds and think about what we're going to do. The sun can even though you've got predicted times, we will wait 5 minutes if that means you guys get to leave Cape Schanck and walk towards and watch the sunrise as you're walking around Bushrangers Bay. So again, not a timed event, not stressed like that. If it's 5 or 10 minutes and you get to have a magnificent experience, we'll wait that extra 10 minutes. So, but around 7, we have everybody there by.
So now no more questions, I'm gathering, because nobody's adding any more. Hopefully all of your questions have been answered, and if they haven't, you can, as we said, message Luke and Anna tomorrow. Okay, so after tonight, who's in? Who we're going to see on course? Let's see your hands come up in the chat.
You might not see us, but we'll be there.
Who's going to be participating and raising some really much needed funds for Lifelines? I am in. Excellent. Okay, now somebody had their hand up there. Who had their hand up? Sarah? Oh, hands up, hands up. This looks great. It is honestly the most incredible experience. And I mean, I've been involved as a volunteer, as a person just helping on the wellness stops, cheering people on with the cowbells. And last year, it was one of the best experiences of my life, just being a support crew person for the event. So I really cannot encourage you enough to get on board with it. Just give it a go. It's something you haven't done before. As Stefan said, it's an incredible challenge. It's a once in a lifetime kind of experience. So this is fantastic. We would love to see you all on course. There's also the Facebook group if you're not part of that as well. So the Great Aussie Hike Community Facebook group, where you can share about your training, connect with other people in the community and that sort of thing. So make sure you join that group as well if you're not part of it. I'm inspired and looking forward to the event. Got to go now. See you on the trail in 2023. We'll see you there. So any other questions? Want to do this, Karen? Don't want to do it, just do it. Excellent. This is great. So, and who's all in for the 100Ks?
We do 100Ks.
Yeah.
Can't release that.
But I mean, we always say the most courageous part for us is people signing up and turning up at the start line. We just admire everybody who does that. You get yourself to the start line, leave it to us to get you to the finish line.
Exactly.
And the other thing is also too, for those of you, I'm guessing as sort of we talked about before, you're probably, if you're on this information session, are probably going to be the team leader. You will be incredibly well supported as the team leader. So it can be a bit of a job herding cats, getting your friends together and that sort of thing, but you will be supported by Anna and Luke and the rest of the community to kind of get your group together with that as well. So excellent. Team Steps is in. Golf buggy baby. Excellent. This is fantastic. So we're going to see you in James. I'm guessing you're going to have a crew joining us down in Melbourne as well.
You're just on mute still, James.
Apologies. Gosh, it never gets old, does it?
No, we've only been doing it for 3 years, James.
Absolutely. It's Sydney, but we will absolutely be there in force, and we're hoping to get some more crisis support volunteers along as well. So there'll be plenty of connection through the course. We're all pumped. Can't wait.
Excellent. And I'm really looking forward to the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars we're going to be able to raise for Lifeline and the incredible work that you do as well. So delighted to have you on board as a charity partner. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And thank you, Fiona, for coordinating everything tonight.
My pleasure. Did do very much.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We will send out a recording so that you can watch bits and pieces. We are here to answer all your questions, day or night. We work during the day in other jobs, so nighttime is fine for us to chat to you and talk to you on weekends and stuff like that as well. But we're really excited to see as many of you on course in March. It really is a really fantastic couple of days.
And just before we finish up as well, there will be a recording of tonight's session, which will be made available. And also Anna will probably pull it off into little snippets. So there'll be little bits of information about what you can expect from the event. But yes, there is a recording available and it will be shared. So if somebody wants to get that, they can sign up to the newsletter through the Great Aussie Hike and they'll receive that. I'm guessing, just saying.
Yes, that. Definitely.
Yeah. That's what's happening now. Anyway.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Just Anne-Marie, is that a question you had there? Or
I think she's got a hand up that she's going to join us.
I meant like, you know, I'm up for the 100K. Sorry.
Great.
Yes.
No, lovely. No,
Awesome.
just checking. Just want to make sure.
Excellent.
No, great job. Thank you so much.
Great.
Thanks, Emily.
All right. Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
guys. See ya.